This woman pretended to be her guy friend, this guy she friend zoned. She pretended to be him on Hinge, and now she doesn't like women.
So one of my guy friends gave me permission to make a Hinge account for him because I was telling him how easy dating is with dating apps. And he was telling me that it's incredibly difficult. And I was like, Pete, you must be doing something wrong. And he gave me permission to create an account for him and just run the account. I've been a virtual boy for 3 days. And I've never felt this bad about myself. I feel like a freaking loser trying to get these girls to like me. And I'm starting to hate women because I'm like, when I say I mean Pete, because that's the account I'm using. Pete's about a 6. But I'm so desperate, I'm liking the 2s and the 3s, and even they won't like me back, Pete, which is a 6. So what level of delusion has entered women's heads? Like, what is going on? It is so difficult dating as a boy. I hate it. I'm on day 3 of being a boy, and I hate women, and I'm more depressed than ever.
Perhaps if more women tried to do this experiment, they would understand the male dating experience and perhaps sympathise or understand what men go through. Instead, no matter how much men try to tell them, they remain entitled and ignorant as to why men can't be bothered to put in effort with women any longer.
Well, this woman is pretty unique, and I'll say why. One, she outright admits that dating apps make dating for her really easy, whereas there are so many women that I've reviewed on this channel, and they're all out there on the internet, complaining about dating apps and how it's really just not efficient enough for them. There's something still missing. And, they've got it so easy on there. They've got pretty much a world of men throwing themselves at these women, making themselves available. And yet it's just still not good enough. It's just still not quite as efficient, right, as these ladies would like. But this girl's a little bit different, and she admitted, no, dating is super easy. Dating apps are really easy. It makes dating really easy. Whereas it's just funny to me how there's so many women out there who have a complete different opinion than her, and they've got it so easy on there, and only if they knew. See, this woman, again, is different. She knows it's easy on dating apps, and she also knows how hard it is for men on dating apps. Whereas these other women, they don't think dating apps make it easy for women, and they also don't know how hard dating apps are for men. She didn't know it either until she did this experiment. I'm not really sure why she said she was talking with him. But so she's different in that way, and that's great. But again, it's like you wouldn't date Pete either. Like you friend zoned Pete as well. So, I mean, you can point the finger, but you're also kind of a part of the problem. She's not an unattractive girl, but then again, it's like, let me see what you look like without the makeup. Let me see what you look like without the filters. So her and Pete, I wonder what Pete actually looks like. And this kind of makes me wonder, so if you took a lineup of 10 men and you had a man stand in front of these 10 men and then rate their looks on a scale of 1 to 10, would there be more shades of gray? Would there be more would there be more nuances to how they rate these men? I think they would accurately assess these men's looks better than women. So you would get a lot of like, oh, he's a 3, he's a 5, he's a 7, he's a 4, he's a 9. But if you get women to rate these same 10 men, would it be true that you would get a lot of women saying he's a 2, he's a 9, he's a 1, he's a 8? That makes me question, do they see it very black and white and not quite shades of gray? Are men more competent at rating humans visually? Right? That I am curious. Are men more in tuned with visual, just visual stimulation? And are women quite incompetent in that area? Could it be that would also kind of give validation to the fact that looks aren't really number one for women. But then you would get these women going on dating apps, and it would seem that, well, looks really are important to them. But could it be that they're just not that intelligent when it comes to rating men according to their looks? And when you actually meet these women in person, if you're, charismatic and can carry a conversation, you come off confident, things would be different. I think there's something to that. I think men are better at rating human beings visually than women. And I think it has a lot to do with how we're wired. And maybe that's why we see these vast differences amongst men and women on dating apps. It's like what women swipe right on 15% of men on dating apps, and men swipe right on women about like 46% of the time. But then again, just women are pickier than men as well in all areas pretty much. Women are more likely to prioritize a man having a stable job than a man. So, there's a lot of differences for sure, but yeah, I find that interesting. And I do think men are more competent at rating humans visually using shades of gray and not necessarily it being binary.
Remain entitled and ignorant as to why men can't be bothered to put in effort with women any longer.
It's a waste of time.
So we all know in 2024 the dating scene kind of sucks. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that men no longer court women. Men no longer pursue women the way they used to. Think about The Notebook. Think about the way that Noah pursued Allie from the second he saw her. That literally doesn't happen anymore. Maybe like 5% of the time. So these are my theories as to why the dating scene is like that. First of all, I think that the music we've listened to growing up has really affected this. I think that rap music has had such a negative impact on men and on the dating scene, because if you listen to rap music and you listen to the way that these guys refer to women, they basically just talk about them like they're objects for sex, and they're really not useful for anything else. Like there's literally zero respect for women in these songs.
Well, I've said it before, and I think that rap culture, all that hasn't really been that great for Western culture or the Western world. I don't think it's really been that great for it.
Second thing is pornography, and unfortunately a lot of boys get exposed to this at such a young age, and it drastically affects the way their brains view women. It basically teaches them to unwillingly sexualize everything and every woman that they come across.
No. Pornography, as she put it, is so popular because this is how men's minds work. It's not that because of prawn, this is how men's minds work. It's men's minds work this way, and this is why prawn thrives. It's not like men weren't this. Why do you think it's so popular in the first place? Why do you think men use it so much in the first place? She's putting the cart before the horse. I think that analogy would apply here.
Viewing them as objects for sex instead of as actual human beings. It also makes it harder for them to be in a committed relationship because they're used to seeing different girls every single time they watch this.
I think it might help men in a committed relationship because a lot of men they're always going to have this sort of desire for variety, and this is where religion comes in and teaches these men to control their lust, etc. This is it's there because this is how men are, right? And again, like I was saying, they're very visually stimulated, and so what was that? What was she yapping about? I completely lost my train of thought.
Because they're used to seeing different girls every single time.
Yeah, I think it probably helps men stay loyal in committed relationships because they can go online and get that itch with a different looking woman. Whereas, I don't know, maybe if without it, they would actually go and cheat, and they would go do that with a living woman.
They watch this, they lose appreciation for a woman's body and just for her as a human being because they have such easy access to naked women. They don't need to court women in order to see these things, so they stop courting women in real life too. And it's the exact same thing when these guys are...
Well, I think in some ways, being hyper exposed to prawn can make men less aroused when they actually get with a real woman. I think there's something to that. Because, yeah, I think that's like a common problem is men who watch too much prawn, they have ED when they actually go to do it with a real woman. But I don't think that would then play a part in them being more likely to cheat on a woman. I don't see the correlation there. But the thing is, she's talking about courting women, and men don't court women anymore. And they completely neglect the fact that a lot of the reasons men don't do it is because it doesn't work. There's no benefits. So they think men behave this way because they've just devolved and they're not as good as men used to be. A lot of men don't do this shit because it gets them negative results. Modern women don't respond well to it a lot of times. And yes, a lot of these modern women don't deserve it. They don't deserve it, and it doesn't make sense. And because they don't deserve it, when they get it, I think they respond not good. And I think they know it. I think they know in the back of their minds, like, why is this guy doing this to me, for me? Why is he courting me this way? Why is he getting me flowers and insisting on taking me out and doing all of this and throwing money at me and opening the car door? Why is he doing all of this? Is he desperate? Is he trying to get into my pants? So they don't really acknowledge the fact that courting modern women doesn't produce good results. And again, I think it has a lot to do with them knowing, like, why is he treating me so good? What the fuck is this? This guy must be desperate. This guy must get no ass. So that definitely plays a part of it.
Girls on social media, and it also impacts the way they view women in real life who are just raw, unedited, real, natural human beings, because now they're...
Well, I mean, also most women in prawn aren't overweight like most women in America, so they probably like that. And so if they get with a real woman, maybe they are used to, wanking it to a 10 out of a 10 or an 8 out of 10 on prawn, and then they get with an average woman, and by average standards, she's going to be overweight. And yeah, maybe they're not as into it.
Are so trained into thinking that that's not what attractive women look like. They think that women are supposed to look like what they see in porn and on social media, when all of that is fake. Women giving it up way too easy.
Well, I mean, again, the women in prawn, what is it specifically you're talking about, woman, that natural women aren't supposed to look like them? Because I'm thinking about it. Yeah, maybe some of them have fake tits. Maybe some of them have fake lips. Okay, fair enough. Most men would really actually rather women don't do this shit. Speaking for myself, I guess, when it comes to the fake tits and the fake lips, not really into it. But there are guys out there who like that shit. But then again, it's like there are also a lot of women in real life doing this type of stuff. It's not just exclusive to women in prawn. There's loads of women getting lip fillers and all these other things. So, but like I was saying, what, these women in these films are what, fit, not overweight? What is it exactly you don't think is correct? What is it exactly you think is not reflective of the real woman? I'm thinking, well, they're just not overweight, are they? They're not overweight, and a lot of them are, I would say, attractive. So is that it? Is that what you're saying? I mean, most of these women can become they can lose the weight. They can become fit. That's what I see in most of these films. Are there any fat ones? I mean, there must be for little certain pockets that men have interest in, their fetishes and whatnot, but in general, most of them are pretty fit. Is that the unrealistic standard? If so, that's sad.
Why would a man court you and try hard to win you over when he can just buy you a drink at the bar and then get in your pants? Just as much as men are not courting women, we are also enabling them.
The reason why men don't pursue is because most modern women are not worth the hassle. Men spend all their time, energy and money trying to court women, and they will get zero appreciation or reciprocation.
Correct.
Because modern women think they are entitled to special treatment. Whenever somebody believes they are entitled to something, they will not appreciate it once it's given to them. So men are now taking our attention away, which is why modern women are constantly begging to get our attention back. Sorry ladies, unless you start acting right, you will not get anything more from us. We are tired of you bleeding us dry to the point where we have nothing left to give you.
I don't fall that shit anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, what does courting really mean? It just means spending money. Like, that's really what a lot of it means. Spending money on me. Heavy pursuit, yeah. Basically showing your hand, just like, oh, I really, really like you. Do you like me too? Throwing yourself at the female disqualification process. Nah, no thanks. I'm not going to do that. It's not going to produce that great of results. And personally speaking for me, prawn has saved me in a couple moments where I might have done I might have made a mistake in hooking up with a woman who was just so not worth it, and entertaining her and giving her my time when I really shouldn't have. And it was just, and busting a quick nut, getting that post nut clarity has saved me several times. And then I go and look at this woman, I'm like, what was I doing? That's not good. Don't do that. So yeah, that in that way, I could see why it would make some of these women mad. They're like, oh wow, this guy realized through post nut clarity that I'm not shit. So I mean, I could see why that would make them mad. But yeah, anyways, funny stuff. But yeah, if you enjoyed that, leave a subscription, my friend. And I'm gonna go ahead and end the video there, and I'll see you later.